You've heard the phrase, it takes a thief. Well, these days, all it takes is a surveillance camera to take down a thief. That said, these crooks do a pretty good job of taking themselves down without any extra help. There they are, caught on camera. With a plan like that, they were caught before long.
Criminals are not the smartest people in the world. They're usually uneducated, desperate, stupid, sad, crazy, drunk, or high.
Leland Gregory knows all about stupid crooks. After all, he literally wrote the book on the subject. He says the proliferation of security cameras and video on sites like YouTube shows that the average crook is no criminal mastermind. Here's another would-be robber entering a convenience store in Florida to steal some beer. As he makes a run for it, oops, there's a tumble. Oh, and there go the pants again. He leaves the beer behind, or is that bear behind, and runs for it. Nice.
I'm not sure what it is with saggy pants and criminals. I mean, maybe they need to go start stealing some belts.
Calling 911 is usually very serious business, but in his new book, excuse me, What's the Number for 911, the author of America's Dumbest Criminals shares stories of some of the funny and weird calls that have come in from all across the country. Leland Gregory, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Now, tell me, how did you start collecting 911 calls, and what made you do that?
Well, when I wrote a book in '95 called America's Dumbest Criminals, I came across a lot of criminals who would break into the top floor and steal a lot of stuff and then realize they couldn't get out, so they would call 911 to help get them out. And I thought, you know, I bet there's a lot of other dumb people out there who've called 911. So I started researching on the internet websites dedicated to newspapers. I'd go through the search engines, typing in 911. So not only do I know everything about emergency 911, I know everything about the Porsche 911 and the rock group 911. So
now, I've read a lot of these calls in the book. Tell me some of your favorites.
Well, some of my favorites are the real quick ones, like a lady called 911 and the operator said, 911, what's your emergency? And she said, I heard some shots fired at the Brown House on the corner. And the operator said, ma'am, do you have an address? And she said, no, I'm wearing a blouse and slacks. And then we had
But I'm
going to say, thank you, I'll be here all night.
You have a very funny one. Thank you. We needed that. Called Misconception, right?
Right. A man called, the operator said, 911, what's your emergency? And the man said, you got to help me. My wife's having a baby and her contractions are coming 2 minutes apart. And the operator said, now calm down, sir. Just tell me, is this her first child? He went, no, you idiot, this is her husband.
Thank you very much. We needed that. Well, that's funny. Well, it's actually, the book is a lot of fun to leaf through. It's called What's the Number for 911? Leland H. Gregory III.
Right.
Thank you very much for being here. The wacky 911 here with some more 411 on 911 is Leland Gregory. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
How are you? We were traveling around about your book, and a lot of DJs say, hey, you'd be an idiot not to put these calls on a CD, right?
In fact, that's exactly the terms they use. You would be an idiot if you didn't do that. And I thought, you know, sort of tired of being an idiot, so.
This will make some money.
Really, it's like you're a rich idiot.
Now,
911? This isn't really an emergency, and have him open the bottle.
The dispatcher sounded a little frustrated with this caller, but we should mention that throughout the call she was actually quite sympathetic, and she sent a couple of police officers over.
She did. She sent an officer over, and the interesting part of the call is you hear her dispatching the officers, and they said, dispatch to help the elderly resident. They said, help her do what? And they went, well, we'd rather not give the code out over the air. So apparently they have a code for sending out a cop to open a beer bottle.
Wow. What's the code for a chaser?
Okay.
One of the smartest things a parent can do is teach their child to call 911 in an emergency. The second smartest thing is to teach the child the difference between an emergency and everything else.
I've had calls where someone called and asked if the fire department could come out and fill up the swimming pool.
Police in Southern California say that nearly 2/3 of calls to 911 are not emergencies, so only call 911 when it really is urgent.
Leland Gregory here, and welcome to Stupid Crooks Caught on Tape. You know, I was going to explain what you're about to see in the video, but, well, the title pretty much says it all. They're stupid crooks, and, well, they're caught on tape. You know, between surveillance cameras and police dash cams and home videos, well, cameras are pretty much everywhere. Stupid criminals are pretty much everywhere too, and that's why so many of them wind up on videotape. Like this next guy, for example. It's a classic case of Alcoholics Anonymous. He's an alcoholic and he wants to remain anonymous for obvious reasons.
All right, that's fine, Phil.
Surveillance cameras are everywhere, even in apartment elevators. Now, there were these two bungling burglars who thought they would take the focus off their activities by removing the camera, but they forgot the tape deck.
It was just after midnight when two thieves from Montreal, Canada, tried to break into an apartment complex garage. They took the elevator to look for other targets, but that's when they framed themselves. "Look," says one criminal, "there's a security camera. Give me a boost, I'll get it."
Well, that Stupid Crooks caught on tape. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you didn't see yourself. I'm Leland Gregory, and I wanted to leave you with a short summary of stupidity. See you next time.